This is page 54 in your math journal. We're going to give this one the title of least common multiple. And for short, they'll write LCM. Okay, let's break this vocabulary down for you. Okay, least would mean, well, first of all, let's work out what a multiple is. So I want you to put a star for this definition. We're going to write the definition of multiple. Okay, a multiple is a number that has been multiplied. So, example, multiples of 10. Multiples of 10 would be 10 times 1 is 10, 10 times 20 or 2 is 20, 10 times 3 is 30, 10 times 4 is 40, 10 times 5 is 50, and it keeps going on and on and on. But these are all multiples of 10. So when we are trying to find the least common multiple, let's break this down and see what we're looking for. So least would mean the smallest. Common, once again like yesterday, common means shared. So the smallest shared multiple of 2 or more numbers. Okay, one way you can do this is you can write down a bunch of multiples till you find one that matches up. So if I were to do the least common multiple of, let's say, 12 and 15. So first of all, let's start listing multiples of 12. 12 times 2 would be 24. And they would keep going, 36. But you don't want to list too many. You're just trying to find the first place that these two numbers match up. So I'm going to start listing multiples of 15. So 15 times 1 is 15, no match so far. 15 times 2 is 30. No match so far. 15 times 4 is 45. Well, let's see up here. 12 times 4 is 48. Okay, no match there. 12 times 15 is 60. 12 times 5 is 60. Okay, as soon as I find one place that I have a match, this would be the least common multiple. Now, is it the only common multiple? No, I could keep going and I could find other ones. But when I want the least common multiple, I'm looking for the smallest one. So in this case, it would be 60. So the LCM, or least common multiple, of 12 and 15 is 60. Okay, now let's try another one. Let's say we're trying to find out of 3 numbers. So let's find the LCM of, let's do 4, 6, and 8. Okay, so we're going to list the multiples of 4, 6, and 8 until we find something that matches in all of them. So 4 times 1 is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Okay, let's list the first few of 6. 6 times 1 is 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. And 8 we have 8, 16. Oh, I have a 16 here and a 16 here, but is that the least common multiple? No, because it has to be in this one also. So keep going. 24, 32, 40. Okay, so far I don't have anything that matches, but since this is my lowest number, I'm more likely, if I make this one a little longer, maybe I'll find it sooner. So after 20 would be 24, 28. Alright, now I see that I have 24 in every single one of these. Now realize it's not the only multiple that works. There's many multiples. However, we are looking for the smallest one they share in common. And in this case, it is 24. Okay, I want you to make special note. So we're going to do a little star thing here. Okay. Remember yesterday I talked about greatest common factor, and the greatest common factor was always smaller or equal to the other numbers. In this case, multiples will always be equal or larger than the numbers you're working with. So let's write this here. So LCM is always larger, always equal, or larger than your numbers. And what's confusing is because people think least, they think it needs to be a smaller number than the ones you have. Not at all. Multiples are always larger than the numbers we're working with, or equal. Like this is equal because 4 times 1 is 4, right? So multiples will always be equal or larger than these. So notice how 24 is larger than 4, 6, or 8. Alright, now with the greatest common factor, I taught you a ladder method. Well, the reason I like the ladder method is you can find the greatest common factor and the least common multiple by doing one thing. So we are going to do the ladder method. So let's write ladder method for LCM. So it's going to be the same exact process, except for when you are finding the LCM, you're going to multiply the L. And it'll make sense in just a minute what I mean by that L. Okay, let's find the least common multiple of 20 and 12. So I'm going to write 20 and 12. And what do they share in common? Okay, looking at it, they're both multiples of 4. So I'm going to draw a star because it goes into both of them, and I'm going to write a 4 here. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 4 goes into 12 3 times. Okay, 5 and 3, do they share anything in common? Besides 1, they don't. That tells me I'm done. That was super simple. Now the way to find the least common multiple is, I told you to multiply the L. Well, here's the L. See the L shape I'm creating with these last numbers? So I'm going to multiply 4 times 5 times 3, and that will give me my least common multiple. So 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 3 is 60. So without having to list every one of them out, my least common multiple between these is 60. Okay, let's try another one. Let's do like up here with 4, 6, and 8. We're just going to do it using the ladder method so you can see where this would work. Okay, what goes into both 4, 6, and 8? Well, there's always one star. If you can't say anything, it would be 1, but in this case they're all even, so I know 2 will go into it. So start off with your star. 2 goes into all of them. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 goes into 6 3 times, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. Okay, do you see anything that will go into all 3 of them? No, so do you see anything that will go into some of them? 2 and 4 have a common factor of 2, so I'm going to draw a 2 here, but not a star because it doesn't go into all of them. So 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 3, it doesn't, so we're just going to remember how we leave it alone if it doesn't go into it. 2 goes into 4 2 times. Okay, looking at this set of numbers, they share nothing in common. None of them do except for 1. That tells me I'm done there. Okay, now my LCM can be found by multiplying the L. So we're going to do 2 times 2 times 1 times 3 times 2. Now, you guys know what happens when you multiply by 1. Sometimes when you do this, you might end up with a bunch of 1s. You don't have to write it. If you write it, it's not a big deal. But I hope you can understand why I'm only going to write 2 times 2 times 3 times 2. I'm just trying to save space because I know if I multiply by 1, it's not going to change anything. So, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is, voila, 24. Just like we found up here in this example we did where we listed the multiples. Okay, sometimes I prefer this method for larger numbers because it's a lot easier to find them. All you have to do is think what goes into them and then multiply when you're done. So we're going to try, let's try 12, 16, and 15. Okay, 12, 16, and 15, do they share anything in common? 12 and 15 do, 12 and 16 do, but all three of them, I don't see anything that seems to go in, but remember there always has to be a star. So the first one's always a star. Since I can't find anything, it has to be 1. So, 1 goes into 12, 12 times, 1 goes into 16, 16 times, 1 goes into 15, 15 times. That is useful for the greatest common factor. Now, I'm just going to be looking for what goes into some of them. Okay, 12 and 16 share a common factor of 4, so I'm going to write 4 here. 12 goes into 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 goes into 16 4 times. 4 does not go into 15, so I'm just going to write 15 here. Okay, 3 and 15 share a common factor of 3, so I'm going to write 3 here. 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 goes into 4, it does not, so I'm just going to leave it 4. 3 goes into 15 5 times. Okay, 1 and 4 don't share anything, 4 and 5 don't share anything, 5 and 1. Because I'm to this point, that tells me I am done. They don't share anything more in common. So now I'm going to multiply the L. And it helps to remember L for least common multiple. So 1 times 1, I'm not going to worry about those, so I'm just going to write 4 times 3 times 4 times 5. Okay, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 5 is 60, and then 60 times 4 is 240. I just saved myself a lot of time instead of listing these out until I got to 240. This just made it easy on me. So, I like this method the best for finding the least common multiple because it will save you a lot of work in the end. Make sure your handwriting is neat, and we'll see you tomorrow.